I've been kind of thinking about this and researching about this for years, and then in 2003, I'd finished the book Alice in Wonderland and the World Trade Center disaster, and I said, look, if I'm going to go further into this and see the next levels, I've got to go into other levels of reality, not in some dream, did I dream it, what happened, but I've got to go in conscious awareness and see beyond this realm and into these other dimensions that interpenetrate it like radio stations. And as synchronicity would have it, I got an invite at that time to go down to South America and talk to a group in the Brazilian rainforest and partake of something called ayahuasca. It was very nice. And I took this stuff. I could have taken it 4 times. I took it twice. That was enough for me. And over 2 nights, I went into another state of consciousness, and especially on the second night, for 5 hours, this voice took a female form, but it's just that form. We are infinite consciousness, male, female, the whole thing. It talked to me as loud as I'm talking now for 5 hours about the nature of reality and the fact that it's all an illusion. And it was so funny. I mean, this level of consciousness, if it was a comedian, it'd clean up. It was so funny. It was taking the piss out of this world and how we perceive it in the most brilliant way. Anyway, what it said was when it opened up, it said over and over again, it said, all you need to know is this: infinite love is the only truth. Everything else is illusion. And put another way, everything being one infinite awareness is the only truth. Everything else is the imagination of that awareness made manifest. And we can get caught in identifying with our manifest reality and delinking from an identification with that infinite consciousness that is manifesting this reality. We get caught in our creation and forget we are the creator. That's what we've done here. We've got locked and identified with what we are creating and what we're experiencing instead of what we are. So, the illusion and the nature of the illusion is one, if not the most important secret truth that has been passed on the top level of the secret society network, taken from that ancient society, global society that understood the nature of reality, and it has been passed on ever since through that structure, while sucking it out of circulation, by ridiculing it, by condemning it, by saying it's the devil, and using mainstream religion to destroy it in the public domain because the devil is involved in this stuff. And this is how it has worked, and we've lost an identification with who we are. Oneness. Infinite consciousness expressing itself through this at this time and through everything else. We are not individuals in that sense. There is not a vacuum between us. There is an energy field. We are all one. The Illuminati want us to identify with division. Because in perceiving division, we perceive this to be who we are. And that's why the whole pressure, you look at society, you look at the whole gamut of it, all the advertising, all the communication, everything, it is making us and it is enticing us with 5-sense reality. It's all about what we can see, entertainment, what you can taste, oh, isn't it lovely, what you can touch, oh, she's nice, and all this stuff. It's all about the 5 senses and holding us in the 5 senses. It's not there's anything wrong with that. It's a lovely experience. I've tried it. It's good. But if that is our entire perception, instead of that is me having an experience, but I am infinite consciousness, we start identifying with the 5 senses as who we are, then we are the fly in the spider's web. And that's why we've got caught. And that's why they've wanted to take out this knowledge in every way possible. But it's coming back, and it's coming back fast. This is how we perceive ourselves, and we're encouraged to. Little me, big universe. I am the universe. Big Ed. You know, you're so conceited. You think you're everything, don't you? Actually, I do. Yes, that's absolutely right. Hey, but so are you. You conceited sod. Yes. Think small, create small. We are oneness. They want to keep us in division. Now, the way they do it is get us to identify with the computer, and that's what it is. This is a biological computer. And after that experience with the ayahuasca and stuff, I came back and I started researching all this stuff from a scientific point of view to see if there was any correlation. When you get away from mainstream science that's taught in the schools and all the stuff, and you get into the cutting edge of science, you find that scientists have already understood that reality is an illusion. And they've already started to understand at the cutting edge that this is a biological computer. Now, when I wrote my last book, Infinite Love is the Only Truth, Everything Else is Illusion, when it was finished, the writing stage, and it went off to be designed as a book, I came across this article by Russian scientists who had got together with geneticists and linguists and many other different disciplines to try to understand, wait for this if you haven't come across it, what the 95% of DNA that scientists call junk DNA, because they don't know what it does. This project was to try to find out what it did. What's it there for? I mean, was God taking the piss or what? I mean, I'll throw 95% of DNA here for no reason. That'll confuse the buggers, yeah. And science being science, because it doesn't understand it, then it calls it junk DNA, as if it's got no purpose. It's just junk DNA, there's no reason, right? Well, what this scientific project with the Russian scientists discovered and concluded was that the body, in its words, is a biological computer. I nearly fell off my chair. I thought I just wrote that a week ago. Anyway, this is a photograph on the right of an experiment done in a Paris hospital where the acupuncture points were around the body. They were injected with a dye that could be photographed. And this photograph is of where the dye went down the acupuncture meridians lines. Now, when I looked at that, the first thing that came to me was that's a bloody circuit board. And what they found is that when these lines of energy, what they call meridian lines and chi or chi energy, when it's moving through the body slowly or too slow for its natural balance, people get ill. When it is moving around the body at its optimum speed, people are healthy. Why? Because what the energy is information passing around the computer. And this is the first time in known human history when we can really start to perceive the situation, because we have computers, we have television. And years ago, when they thought computers and television, never even thought they were possible or even perceive what they were, try explaining this. But now we have the symbols to understand and to explain it. When, in other words, it's unhealthy, what do we say about it? We say, my bloody computer's slow today. Exactly. And that's what happens to us. The information is passing around too slowly, therefore the body is not in its optimum state. So the body's a computer, and we are occupying the computer, but we are not the flipping computer. That's the point. And we use computer language. When you get a computer virus, I've had one, and it starts off that everything kind of slows down because it starts to imbalance the flow of information. And it gets worse, and it gets worse, and exactly what happened to mine about a year ago. Eventually, it won't even switch on. And what do we say? Hey, my computer's died. Exactly. And this is what happens when we have what we call death. We don't die, sodding computer does. And then when the computer goes off and switches off, so it just operates on tick over mode, we say the computer's in a sleep state. Yes, same with us. When our consciousness goes off to other realms and we have things called dreams and stuff. And we have something called Norton antivirus. And its job is to destroy viruses and isolate them when they enter the computer to keep the computer healthy. We have a Norton antivirus in our computers. We call it the immune system that does pretty much exactly the bloody same. Now, Norton antivirus will keep your computer healthy until a virus comes that it can't cope with, or it's overwhelmed, or it's not working properly. Our immune system will keep us healthy until something comes along it can't cope with, very rare, or more often it has been undermined by all the shit we drink and eat, and all the pressure and electromagnetic pollution, and also because it's overwhelmed by the number of things that are being fired at it. And then we become ill, and eventually the virus gets so bad we die, or the computer does.